Hi everyone, it's Kute here, sending you love wherever you are around the world. You know, I have the privilege of speaking around the world in large conferences with 3, 4, 5,000 people, to smaller retreats in Bali with 18 to 20 people, to weekend seminars, 150 to 300 people. And every time I speak, it's a unique experience. And people often either write to me or come up to me at my events and says, Kute, I really want to speak. I have a message. I have so much I want to share, but I am afraid. Perhaps as you're listening to this, you are someone out there who you have a message, you have a voice, you have something dear to you that you want to communicate and that you want to share. And you want to share it publicly, but there is a fear. Do you know that in the world today, more than death, more than going broke, more than being homeless, that the number one fear is speaking in public? So how do you actually overcome the fear of speaking in public, and what is the key to speaking in public? You know, the very first time I spoke in public, I was 8 years old, and my father has about 300 churches in West Africa. He had one church in London, and growing up in London, being an 8-year-old kid, all I wanted to do was play soccer. And one day I was grabbed and put on the front row, and being 8 years old, I was rather bored by the church service that went on for like 4 hours. And all of a sudden I got a tap on my shoulder and I was told that my father wanted me to give the sermon that particular Sunday. So I was thrown on stage, about 4,000 to 5,000 people, and I'll never forget that initial experience where words just emanated out of my mouth, and honestly, I'm not even sure what happened, but just words started coming out of my mouth for the next hour, and that begun a relationship, an obsession, a passion for speaking and communicating in public arenas. And from age 8 to 18, I spoke in hundreds of locations, hundreds of events, small and large, and it's been a passion of mine. So what is the key to speaking in public and overcoming your fear of speaking in public? On some level, speaking in public is a kind of death of your ego, a death of your identity, a death of yourself, of who you know to be when you stand in front of an audience. What you have to really do is, firstly, you have to realize that the key to speaking in public is really, it's not about you. It's not about you. The degree to which you are fixated and focused on yourself. You are fixated and focused on your needs, your fear, how you look, what people are going to think, how will they respond. The more you are attached and fixated on this little tiny fixed point called you, the more nervous, the more self-conscious you will feel. And the more self-conscious you are, we could say the worse you will be at speaking in public. The more a fear you'll have, the more afraid you will be, the more restricted you'll be in terms of your ability to express yourself, your ability to express your true heart. So the key to speaking in public is realizing it's not about you, it's about the public. It's about your audience. It's about the hearts and the lives and the minds and impacting the lives of those around you. So take the focus off of you, the little you that's stuck in this little box. And one of the keys is to realize that your role is to expand your point of attention. Real freedom is having you could say, an infinite point of attention. Real enlightenment is having an infinite realm and freedom of attention. What often happens, and why we often suffer and feel self-conscious and afraid, is that infinite point of attention contracts into a tiny little moment, and we get so fixated on my insecurity and my fear. So your goal is to expand your point of attention and feel outwards from yourself and feel everyone in the audience, feel everyone you're going to be speaking to. Take the focus off of you and feel the hearts and the minds, and feel deeper and feel everything and everyone, and feel your audience, feel their fears, feel their insecurities, feel their amazingness, feel their hopes and their dreams, and focus on adding value and being of radical service to those you are speaking to, knowing that those you're speaking to have been drawn into your presence for a reason. Their souls need to hear something that you are destined to share with them in that moment. And many people often think, what do I have to say? What do I have to speak? You know, Deepak Chopra's out there, Tony Robbins is out there, you know, Les Brown's out there, this person's out there, all these great speakers are out there. What do I, little me, have to say? What I want you to know is your unique life experiences, every single thing, failures and successes, relationships, trials and tribulations, every single thing you have been through has perfectly prepared you in this unique moment to speak your gift, to speak your experience, and share that experience with the world. That there are people waiting for you right now to hear your voice in only the way that you can speak it. You see, some people will hear the message of, there's only one message of life really expressing in 7 billion ways. But there are some people that need to hear it, not through how I speak and my personality and character and experiences. There are people that need to hear it in the unique way that you have lived your life, in your own unique expression. And when you trust that, you stop trying to be or speak like someone else. You know, it's so interesting. I see so many people when they want to be speakers, they see this great speaker and they try and model this person, and they become, you know, a real second-rate version of that speaker or this speaker, and you can tell they're not really being themselves. So one of the keys to speaking is take the focus off of you, really focus on serving and adding value and being of service to the lives of those that are in the audience, and being so committed to that, because even if you screw up, even if you mess up, even if you say the wrong things, they will feel your truth, they will feel your heart, they will feel your authenticity, they will feel you. And one of the most important things that I've learned through speaking since I was literally age 8, one of the most important things I've learned is people often don't remember what you say. You might be all concerned with, oh my God, I hope I say it right, I hope I do it perfectly. There is no such thing as a perfect speech, because your audience doesn't know if what you're saying is perfectly synchronized and perfectly timed based on your plan. They have no idea. Your audience is really thinking about what's in it for me, and they're looking to receive value. So what I found is people don't really remember what you say, but what they will remember is the impact of the transmission of your heart, the impact of the transmission of your feeling, and the feeling that they had in the presence of you while you gave your speech. So here's what I want you to know. It's not just the words that you speak and the eloquent words that you craft together in a perfect, eloquent talk, you know, and you put it together. So many people put together perfect speeches and it has no impact. To me, the real impact of the speech is not simply how good it sounds and people clapping. The real impact of you giving a speech and giving a talk is your ability, is the degree to which your audience is actually moved to action, moved to shift a way of thinking, feeling, and being in their life, so that it translates into an action in their life. As a result, they will never be the same. Don't just get caught up on the words. Words are only like 7% of a communication. 7%. So the state of consciousness when you give a talk, your state of consciousness, the state of your being, where your attention is at and where you are rested at within yourself, is as important, if not more important, than the words you speak. So it's not just the word you speak, but the state of being from where you speak it from that is transmitting through your words. So I'd like to say that the words are simply an excuse for your being. The words that you speak are simply an excuse for the silence. The words carry the transmission and the intent of your heart. So even if you're not a perfectly crafted public speaker, I say throw away the techniques, throw away the strategies, walk like this, talk like this, and forget all of that, because we can get so caught up on doing it right. But when you're so caught up on giving a perfect talk and doing it right, not only do you become self-conscious, you will often disconnect from the authenticity of your being, the authenticity of who you are. And who you are is, who you're being while you're speaking is the real gift and transmission itself that will touch the hearts and the souls and the spirits of those in your audience. So when you speak, Don't just speak to people's minds. When you speak, don't just see physical bodies, personalities in front of you, because personalities are always judging machines. The mind is always judging. And if you're in your mind and you're speaking to people's minds and you are relating to your audience as little personalities, egos, then the communication is from ego to ego. But to truly become a great speaker and overcome your fear of public speaking, the fear of public speaking I found often arises because I'm over here and you're over there as an audience, right? So we're over here and you're over there as an audience, and there's a separation between you, the speaker, and the many audience members out there. And it seems like there's a separation, and in that separation, there's fear. What are they thinking? What's going on? Will they like my talk? And the ego is constantly seeking approval and validation and being loved, and that's a recipe for nervousness. So the fear of speaking in public often happens because there's a perceived sense of separation. But when you feel deeper into yourself, and then you feel through your own persona, and you feel through the bodies of all these other people, you start speaking not to their personalities, but you start speaking to their souls. You start speaking to a deeper dimension of who they really are. Do you get what I'm saying? And as you start speaking to that, and as you come from that, you realize that really there is no speaker and audience. There is no audience and speaker. There is just a process of speaking that is happening, arising from a deeper depth. So in essence, there's no separation. You know, during the best talks I've given, and I've given thousands of them, during the best talks, what happens is I dissolve. That's really what happens. I dissolved. And I, as a separate being, wasn't there, and in that inherent dissolution, there was no audience, there was just one. So then in that moment you realize there's no one that you're speaking to. You're no longer trying to speak to someone other than it's just, there's only one of you here. And if there's only one of you here, and there's not all these separate egos and bodies judging you on the surface, and there's only one of you present, and you speak from that place, then there's no fear. Fear dissolves because there's only one. Fear arises, especially when it comes to speaking in public, because there's a sense of separation. And as that dissolves, you realize there's one, and in that oneness, there's love. And when there's love, and you stand, and you speak from that inherent recognition of oneness and love, then everything you say, everything you communicate, even if it's a little rough around the edges, will be felt at that deepest level and will be a transmission from soul to soul. It will no longer be a communication, which is mind to mind, ego to ego. It will be a communion, soul to soul. To me, the key to speaking is not in what you're speaking, but in who you're being in the process of speaking itself. Take the focus off of you, and you realize there is no you, there is just one of you present, and you will be the most amazing public speaker on the planet. Your own unique expression, and in that moment you'll realize it's not you that's speaking, but life itself that is speaking through you. Fear will dissolve, only love will remain. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to subscribe to my blog. I'm sending you lots of love wherever you are. Keep sharing your hearts. Love now.